Let's start off. Hello, everybody, and welcome. For those of you that haven't met me before, my name is Ellie Cheshire. I'm product manager here at The Key, and I'm joined with my colleague Neil Collins, who is not only the founder of GovernorHub, he's head of governance here at The Key too. So hello to everybody. Just to explain what this webinar is about to start off with. Everybody in this room is a member of the Key for School Governors. As of, now when was it, October, I think, end of October, you also, as part of your subscription, got a subscription to GovernorHub. And this session today is really just to explain what GovernorHub is, what that means for you as Key for School Governors users, and hopefully give you a bit of information and fill in any gaps that you may have. Now, just some housekeeping before we go on. Number one, we will be sending on this recording to you. So if you have to pop out or miss it or want to pass this on to anyone else on your board, you will be able to do so. We'll send this out on Monday. We will also be doing another training session on December the 2nd. This will be a longer session where we'll go through how to use GovernorHub and all the information that you may need. So don't worry if you feel like you've missed anything. We will be sending a survey out at the end of this session too, which will give you a chance to put anything in there that you've not known yet, or questions you have, or issues that you want us to cover in that session. So do make sure you fill that in, because that will make us able to tell everyone everything they need. As we go along today, it's a fairly short session, so we should be nice and pacey for you. But as we go along, do ask us any questions you need to. On the screen, you should have a Q&A button and a chat button. Now, the chat, as you're doing, well, brilliant. You're all saying hello. Morning, everyone. That's great. Do chat with each other and us in there. In the background, which I haven't mentioned, we've got some of our support services. So we've got Hannah in the background, we've got Rebecca in the background, and they can be answering questions and stuff too. So we've got the chat in the chat button, and we've also got the Q&A. If we can ask you if you've got specific questions that you need us to answer, that you pop those in the Q&A. The trouble with the chat bar is it zooms up and we miss kind of what happens. So if you can have questions that you want us to respond to, pop them in the Q&A, and we can pick those off as we go throughout the session. Just moving on now, we've also got a poll. I'm going to, just to sort of suss out who we've got in the room, really, and so we know who we're all talking to. We're going to set up a poll. Just looking in my session, I don't think I can do it. Can either Bex or Neil, could you set the poll for us, please? Don't think I've got permissions to do that.
You're testing out my Zoom skills here.
I clearly haven't got them.
Let me go.
There it is. Brilliant. So that should have appeared on your screen. We've got a couple of questions there just to ask you who you are, what your role is, and what your experience of GovernorHub is so far. This will hopefully help us give you the information you need. That would be wonderful if you could fill that in. Can you see them filling that in, Neil?
Well, I'd like to say yes, but
it's disappeared, unfortunately. It popped up and then it went again, Neil. I don't know if you can relaunch
There it is.
Yeah. Oh, no, it came up and that's gone again.
There we go.
Is that now
live?
That's
the results, unfortunately.
Isn't it incredible when you come to see slick tech skills?
Hang on.
There we go.
I have found the way to relaunch a poll. Let's see if that works. That come up.
Brilliant. If everyone
got it now, thanks.
onto that poll and answer it, that would be wonderful.
Results are flooding in. That's good. That's good. Hey, actually, while folks are seeing that, there's a few questions come in on the Q&A. So just to reiterate, if you want to post a question as we go through, find the Q&A button on your Zoom window and post it in there. If you do the Q's, we'll try and do the A's. So Caroline's asked, how long is the free subscription for? So the GovernorHub, so as part of Key for School Governors, that is a permanent thing. So as you renew, you'll continue to get GovernorHub. Whether that's you purchasing Key for School Governors directly from us, or also as part of a service from your local governor support service. Okay.
We shall
Okay,
hopefully answer some
results.
questions as we go through. How are the results looking, Neil?
They are still slow. I think they've leveled out now, actually. Right. Yes, I think they have. So let's have a look. End poll and share results. Can you see the results up? So it looks like we've got a mix of governors, chairs of governors, a few trustees, a large chunk of clerks, and a few MAC governance professionals.
Great stuff.
But I think, yes, the majority are governors and clerks. About 9% know GovernHub well, and about half GovernHub is new to the board, and then the rest are either existing users or first-time users. I see. Excellent. Good. All right. Well, actually, quite a mix then. All right. Well, look, we'll try and pitch that accordingly as we go through. Thank you for that.
Right, brilliant. Okay, so let's just, I'm going to just stick for the next 5 minutes or so, that's all, just explain a bit of background so that you're up to date with where we're at really and what we're trying to do. And then Neil's going to talk you through the actual product and show you how it works. And we'll try to cover all sorts of different things, but to suit all the different people in the room. So hopefully that will be great stuff. Now, the key. The wider key group, the key family, quite often people are a bit confused about where we sort of sit in that kind of family and where and what other products are in the key family too. So I just want to start off by saying that this is everything in its entirety. This is the key group, if you like. And we kind of have three different areas, three different arms of the business. We have the leadership over on the left here, and this is where your school leaders, your CEOs, your head teachers, will all be able to get the resources they need, the CPD for their staff, get ideas from their peers, all that kind of stuff. So, do find out what your leaders are using so that you can be sure that they're getting the support they need. On the other side, we have school operations products. So we do have Arbor Education Scholar Pack within our family too. These are MIS systems which hold all the pupil data and information that your school uses and needs. And then, of course, we've stuck ourselves in the middle. Of course, it's the governance. So we have the Key for School Governors and GovernorHub. Now, GovernorHub joined the Key family, Neil, am I right, about 1.5 years ago? I think that's roughly about right.
It was April 2020, just in time for lockdown.
Yeah, well, beautiful. It wasn't your fault, presumably. That's just a coincidence, right? And that's when they joined the Key family. And these two products ever since have been working together, really. And the idea is, and these two products are almost like two sides of the same coin. They work together to produce what we think is a pretty fully well-rounded support service for governors. Now, you're all Key for School Governors users. You know what the product is, but I just wanted to lay out this to show you really the differences between the two products and how they work together. So we know the Key for School Governors, this is about giving you the knowledge you need to do what you want, to feel confident, to know that you're effective, to know that you're doing the right thing at the right time. And forgive me for reading out from a slide. It's terrible, isn't it, really? But the fact is the Key for School Governors it's to ensure that you know what is and isn't expected of you, when to do something and how to do it well. It's that information behind everything you do. GovernorHub is a different type of product, but it works really well alongside the Key for School Governors. What GovernorHub does is it actually helps you do the processes and the workings of governance. It helps you do your governance job. So this is about working better together, being more efficient, saving time, helping you stay connected, to talk to your board, keep all your documents together, keep track of what you're doing. All those clerks in the room, GovernorHub is great for clerks because it means you can get those minutes out, you know where everything is, you've got all the roles and information on your board right there and you know what you're doing. So it's very different to the Key for School Governors in fact it kind of solves different problems, but they work together really well. And how I see it, I don't know, the old Christmas adverts have been coming on recently, right? Have you seen the one? There's a imaginary friend one, that little friend that looks after the girl and then she goes away, but she comes back at the end. Is it? I don't know. Everyone does it now, don't they? They have the heartwarming ad this time.
That's McDonald's, actually.
Is it? Oh, lovely. Well, it shows what I watch, doesn't it? But I kind of was thinking about it, and that's sort of how I feel that our governance product is. It's like if you had an imaginary governance friend that joined your board, they'd come and sit next to you on your board meetings. And you know, when somebody's saying stuff you don't understand, they'd be like whispering, say, this is what it means. And just at the right time, they'd give you a killer question to ask and make sure that you're doing that kind of stuff. And you know, that this is what these products do together. That the GovernHub side will just make sure that you've got all your papers when you need them, give you a bit of help getting organised, all that sort of stuff. It's almost like your sort of best governance friend. It's like having a really awesome new governor join your board and make sure everyone knows what to do and is feeling confident.
I love that. That's a really good, I think it's a really good analogy. I love that.
I like it too. It's just that little support, you know, so it's that little extra chair, the empty chair that you're giving a carrot to. That doesn't work, but you know, there we are. So that's what I think, that's how I see these products working together. Now, we could just continue selling Key for School Governors on its own and GovernorHub on its own, and people can choose to buy one or the other or buy them together. No problem, they work really well. But I'm a governor, Neil's a governor. Pretty much everybody on the team is a governor. It's not mandatory, but you know, it sort of is really too. And the thing is, we're using these products day in, day out. And we know that our governance is done in snatches of time, here, there, you know, late at night when you've got a minute and you've realised you've got a meeting the next day, or in a really boring meeting where, I shouldn't say that in front of my boss, really, should I? But, you know, when you're doing your governance and you just sort of need those snatches of time to do it. So really what we're trying to do with these products, and as me in product manager role, is to make sure that we're developing in the way that we need to. So we're trying to make sure that we're cutting out faff for everybody, that we're making life simpler, we're cutting out the noise. And actually, no matter how well these products are working right now, can we do it better? Can we make it easier? And can we take the great bits from each one and actually make sure that they're working better together? So the reason that the Key for School Governors now is having GovernorHub within the package as part of that package ongoing. So this isn't a let's try it for a while and see. This is part of our ongoing plans, and you know, this is what's happening now. So when you buy Key for School Governors, you will always have GovernorHub as part of your subscription. And the reason is that we can use all those processy gubbins in the background of GovernorHub to improve what we can do for you, this Key for School Governors. So for those of you that might just have the Key for School Governors and don't know anything about GovernorHub, what will happen now is that with GovernorHub as part of your subscription, it will now act as your board management area. So it's like, it is a hub where your governors sit and where all your board management stuff can happen. So great stuff, security-wise, clerks in the room, ensures that only your board has access to these products, and you know that everybody on your board has access to these products. When you add a governor to your board or a new governor starts, you can just pop them onto GovernorHub. They've got access to everything. They're off and running, really simple. It means also that as well as when you're in the Key for School Governors, you're getting all your information. It means that you can track your membership, your roles, your committee membership. So, and we know what roles you have, so we can ensure that we've got that information for you when you need it. What GovernorHub does as well, because it's kind of like your mini database, it's your product, your governor database that sits in the background really of the Key for School Governors. And one great thing about that is that when you've got information on the Key for School Governors that you've found interesting and you're like, oh, right, everyone should know about this, we enable you to be able to share that instantly with your board. So let's say keeping children safe in education, we've all read it, we've all signed to say, yep, we've definitely done that. You might get to your next meeting and your clerk sat there thinking, have they really got this? Do they really know what they need to be talking about? And what you might do, or he might do, is pop onto Key for School Governors, find our really handy, what are the key issues for the changes this year from keeping children safe in education? And then with one click, you can actually say, right, share to my board, and that will, the advice in one sort of fell swoop will be pinged to everybody's inboxes. You don't have to go searching for emails. You don't have to say, well, who should I send it to? It's all there. So it's a really nice way to be able to take what you do already in the Key for School Governors and enable you to just share that really easily. For those of you with both already, because some of you we've seen in the room have both products and know them very well, these changes will just cut out some faff for you. Stylish language, I know. But it just means you'll have, one login. You don't need to have 2 passwords and 2 logins and go to 2 different places to do different things. You've got that seamless link between the 2. We will have more and more integrations as time goes on that helps you do things much more easy. You've got no need to update both systems. If a governor joins or changes role or whatever, and you can change in GovernorHub, then automatically that happens in Key for School Governors. And from a kind of future point of view, another reason for us being able to do this now is that actually what this does with these 2 great products working much closer together, it enables us to develop in ways. It will enable us to solve more problems that you have and help with more of those issues.
And sandwiches.
Ooh, somebody's gone on. Joe, I think you know. Somebody's.
So I've just muted her.
Please to put your mute on.
Joe's ordering a sandwich.
Somebody's having a sandwich. Oh, not me. Never mind. But yes, it gives us the ability really to develop. So I would say watch this space, because now that we've got the capabilities, 2 products together, we can really do stuff that's going to help. And so I hope that explains a little bit about the whys we're doing this. Practical whats that you have seen. Hopefully, you've all logged on to Key for School Governors recently and seen that we've had a lovely little makeover. No changes as such. It's the same old Key for School Governors, but hopefully you've seen that we're looking a bit more modern, a bit refreshed. Hopefully nice and easy to read everything and find everything, and just a few little improvements there in the look of it. And you will also see the appearance of this lovely owl and GovernorHub. Now, just so you know, this owl is called Autu. It's the GovernorHub owl, and wherever you see the GovernorHub owl, you'll know that there's a kind of link and an integration that will help you. Neil's going to talk you through GovernorHub just now in a sec. But before he does do, I just want to point out this GovernorHub bit at the top here. This is how you link to GovernorHub from the Key for School Governors. And I would say if there's one thing, your next steps, if you haven't done so already, after this session, click on Autu, the owl there, and go through and register on GovernorHub. And then you can have a look at everything, work your way through it, and have a little look at what Neil's about to tell you. So that's our kind of homework, if you like. Go and click on that button when you've finished here. Now I'm going to pass over to Neil, and he's going to do a demo of GovernorHub, and then in the background I'll answer any questions that have come up during this short session. So
some great questions. There's some really good questions coming in actually.
Great.
So some of them I think we'll pick up as I go through the demo. But let me share my screen now. Okay, so hey Ellie, can you see Key for School Governors? Am I sharing the right screen?
Yeah, I can. That's perfect.
So as I was saying, the Key for School Governors, it's looking slightly different now, but in terms of the content, it's the same. But it's still at the same address, so School Governors, thekeysupport.com. To navigate around the site, then there's an area up in the top left here which allows you to go to other sites like Key for School Leaders, Safeguarding Training Centre. But today we're just going to look at GovernHub. And the main way to get into that is to click on the link over here, and that takes you into GovernHub. GovernHub we set it up in 2012. It's now used by over 115,000 users every month, and we've stored across the whole site approximately 4 million documents now. So it's incredibly busy, and it's a repository used by around about 40% of schools around the country. The overlap with Key for School Governors is really the reason why we've become part of the Key. So GovernHub, as Ace talked about, is for all those the things you need to do to run meetings, store documents, track membership, all those bits and pieces. Key for School Governors is where you go for advice and training of the real first-rate quality. Bringing those two together, we think, is a real big advantage. As I go through, I'll pick up some of the questions, but one of the ones from Arjun is a very common one, which is around security of the site. So let me touch on that now. You'll see up in the top left here, there's a little padlock. and that's because we use secure protocols between the web browser and our servers, which means anything that goes between your computer and ours is encrypted. We also encrypt documents when they're stored, and we encrypt our database, which means, you know, if all the details, even if someone got onto our database, they couldn't read them. The servers we use are all GDPR compliant as well, so they're in the European Economic Area, which is what GDPR stipulates. In fact, they're actually all in the UK, with the exception of documents which are in Ireland. The data centers used are also GDPR compliant. It means we comply with a standard called ISO 27001. So that's the long answer to your question, Arjun, but the short answer is yes, we're 100% GDPR compliant and fully secure all documents. Let me give you a very quick tour around the site. I'll just highlight particular areas. We've got a more detailed training session, as Ellie was saying, on the 2nd of December. So, and that's very particularly targeted at clerks. So governors, senior staff use GovnorHub a lot, clerks use it even more. And we're running a particular detailed training session for them. First area in GovnorHub, though, this is what we call the news area. We've pulled various bits of education news from around the web and present them here on the news feed. You've also down the right-hand side here got links off to your meetings or your training that's coming up. So you'll see here there's a little link, a little icon to a camera. And one of the things we do there, and this has come up on the Q&A, is we integrate with common video platforms. So things like Teams or Google Meet or Zoom, which a lot of schools are now using for governor meetings following the pandemic. If you put a link into those, and I'll show you that in a bit, you can press one button and go straight into those meetings from inside GovnorHub. Second part of GovnorHub is the area which is private to an individual board. So this is one of our demo boards, but you can the access to this area is restricted to the governing body or the trust board and senior leadership members of who have been added. So your head teacher, your business manager, for example, people who come along to a governing board meeting. This areas then you can post messages. So if I wanted to say I could do that, hit send, that goes onto the notice board, but also at that point it goes out as a message to all of my governors. If I don't want to send to everybody, I can also pick an individual committee to send to, or I can pick individual governors and just send to them. Everything goes onto the notice board, but what you're picking there is who's notified of those messages. Down the right-hand side here, you'll see some links off to useful information. So the DFE page, the Ofsted page, if this was a real school, there'd be an Ofsted page. Also a community insights page, which is something we provide and gives you a view of how your local demographics are in your area. You can also link the this Twitter feed here to your school's Twitter feed. So if the school is tweeting, quite a nice way to keep governors up to date, and you can link to that here. The governing board area is where you manage the membership of your boards, and there's a few questions on the chat around how does this compare to systems like Teams? How does it compare to systems like Office 365, where often schools have those in for running their internal systems and have perhaps used a bit of that historically for supporting governors? The big difference between GovnorHub and those systems is that this was built specifically for governors. So as well as accessing documents, as well as giving you a link into your meetings, you also do things like tracking membership. So Here we've got Fred, as well as tracking things like what committees Fred's on, what role he has, also tracking things like his term of office. So this will actually flag up when Fred is about to come to the end of his term of office, so needs reappointing. That's a very specific governance thing. It's not something which you'd have in a generic sort of small business system like Office 365 or a more generic system like Teams. So it's very much built for a purpose, and that's the main difference between GovernHub and those systems. This area, so as well as tracking membership, you can have specific roles. So depending how your board is set up, you might have a health and safety governor, you might have an SEND link governor, and you can track those here. You can set up your members, your committees, and track who's on those committees, the chairs, who clerks those meetings. You can keep a track of your constitution, so you can easily at a glance see where you've got vacancies. You can see when people's term of office is coming to an end. You can also download that constitution, so particularly as a clerk, if you know it's just a thing coming up on your agenda, you can just do that in one click. And in fact, you can download a lot of information from GovernHub. So the sorts of things which a clerk might maintain in a spreadsheet today or in a Word document, they can easily access at the click of a button. Lists of membership, the training records, Ofsted are about to arrive tomorrow. Click this button and that will download in one document all the training records for the existing board. Declarations of interest, that's a statutory requirement that you report that and publish it on your website. You can get that document by just downloading it from here. There's a list of all the documents that have been signed on GovernHub. I'll show you how that works. You can also, if you want to, download all of your documents and all of your membership. And this relates to another question about moving between systems. We really want, and we've always done this, to give you easy access to your information on GovernHub. If you want to move off of GovernHub onto another system, we'll make that super easy for you. Likewise, if you want to go from another system into ours, then again, that's something which is really easy. So someone was asking about documents. You can do that in one simple drag and drop. It's not a document by document process. The reason why we make it easy is because we want you to use GovernHub because it's great to use. We don't want you to use GovernHub because you're locked in or any such things. So that ease of access to data is a really important part of what we do with GovernHub. Finally, there's an about page which allows you, if you're an admin, to link it to a Twitter account. You can also add things like confirmation. So if you've got a code of conduct for your board, you can add that here, and that's added to each of your governor's profile pages, so they can then, in a single button press, confirm that they comply with the code of conduct. We also set out in plain English exactly who can see the data in GovernHub and who can do what with it, and that's done here. I've talked a bit about the profile area. Let me show you that now. So every governor has an individual profile. You can see their picture. Sometimes they're not that great. But this is where a governor would store their contact details. And you can see, again, we make it very clear who can see those. Track the declarations, which is one thing I was talking about. And I can come in here and say, yes, my declarations are correct. Have I read and understood keeping children safe in education? Something which is statutory for all governors. Yes, I have. Here are the code of conduct for the boards I'm on. I confirm I've read the code of conduct. And me pressing that button is equivalent to you signing a document. So we've had it confirmed by auditors that is 100% acceptable. So that quite laborious process of getting documents signed, having bits of paper signed, collecting them together, keeping them in a folder, can be done really simply on GovernHub. And that's another difference between generic business systems like Office 365 and GovernHub. We're built for purpose, and we include things like that, which really do save you a lot of time. Coming back to the main area in GovernHub, then next area is the documents area, and sort of up to you how you store your documents. But what we found works well is to have high-level folders for each of the committees. As you go into the individual committee areas, you would then have a folder maybe per academic year, and then within there have a folder per meeting. And then inside each one of those folders, that's where you put your documents for each meeting. You can then, within GovernHub, you can read the documents. So if I click on the agenda here, so this is it's a Word document, but I don't need Word installed on the computer in order to read it. So it's rendered inside my browser. So that's useful, obviously, if you haven't got Word installed on your computer at home. But it's also if you're actually using GovernHub in the meeting and you're projecting up maybe from a classroom computer onto an interactive whiteboard, you can just sign into that computer, log into GovernHub, and you can project directly onto there. You don't need any specific software installed. And we do that natively for a variety of different documents, all the Office ones, PDFs. So it's got native support for PowerPoints if you want to use that. So it really cuts down there on the number of documents that you need to print. That's the main thing for it. There was a question came up about providing editable access to documents. So that's something which we've got running in the labs now, and it's likely to appear probably early next calendar year, we think, in terms of when that will be out to the onto all the boards. And that allows you to not just view documents, but also edit them online. Final area of GovernHub is the calendar. So normally maintained by the clerks, doesn't have to be, can be maintained by other people as well. But this is where you would put your meeting details. So you can see I've got an FGB meeting coming up. I can change things like the name, the place it's going to be. I can set it to be for a particular board or committee. I've linked it off there to a particular folder of documents, and that gives us a nice little shortcut. And I can put my video meeting link in there as well. So if there's a Teams link, I can put that straight in there. And I can also track who's coming to that meeting, and after the meeting, I can fill in the who's attended. So here, that attendance, I can download that now for the whole academic year as a simple report, which gives me the information I need to update the school website in terms of attendance at meetings. You can also link that out to your calendar. So if you've got a desktop calendar, if you use Outlook or Gmail, or you've got an iPhone calendar or an iPad calendar, you can add this into there. So these governor meetings then appear in your normal day-to-day calendar. The final thing I'll talk about then is the link back to Keep School Governance, because that now appears as an icon on what we call the washing line here. So if I click onto there, that'll take me back into Keep School Governance. So hopefully that gives you a very quick run through of the features of GovernHub, how you get between the two areas of Keep School Governors into GovernHub. As we bring the two sites closer together, there'll be more links as well. So you can already share articles from Keep School Governors into GovernHub, and we'll be putting links back in the other direction. Right, at that point, Ellie, should we just pick up some of the other questions? So Joe asked, can you add people who aren't trustees, e.g. the senior team? Yes, Joe, that is actually quite normal activity. So you'd add the governors or the trustees onto GovernorHub, and they would be in your constitution. But you also access other people who are going to be accessing governor or trust board documents onto there as well. So yes, your CEO, your COO for trust board, or perhaps your head teacher, your school business manager, they would often be added as well. Louise asked about, we already use another online governor management service. How do we transfer everything across? Will it be document by document manual process? No, Louise, this is really quite, how you get the documents out of your current system, you'll need to check with them. But the best way to do it is if you can download it onto a computer as a single folder, and then simply drag and drop that folder of documents directly into the GovernHub documents area, then we'll go through all the documents and upload them one by one. We'll also replicate your folder structure there as well. So, you know, what you had on the other system, you have on this one. Joe also asked about confidential items. So yes, you can limit access to a folder of documents on a committee by committee basis. So let's say you had a committee which is looking at a staff restructuring, then you set that up probably as a temporary group or committee and give them and only them access to a particular folder, and that's how that works. Deborah asked, do you have the ability to attach a one-off document to the notice board instead of saving it to the documents? Oh, I like that. That would be very cool. No, we don't, Deborah. And no, we don't have any plans. But it's one of the things I'm going to be chatting to Ellie about afterwards, because I would quite like to be able to do that. Nice.
Yeah, it would be nice. I'll just say the only thing, the way we use it in GovernorHub is you can, and forgive me if you've said this already, Neil, and I've been answering questions, but is that you can either put documents in folders, or you can post links to those documents in other places. So if you have a folder with all your terms of reference in, you can leave all those terms of reference in those folders, and when you're talking about those terms of reference in a meeting, you can just put the link to them in your meeting folder. So you can be quite flexible about, you know, I mean, I'm sure in systems you kind of have, you end up with multiple copies of documents and things like that. So quite often, if you sensibly use that link, you can have them in all sorts of places and just living in one area. I think that's sort of linked.
Yeah, that's it. So and there's a real benefit in doing that, i.e. sending around just a link, not sending around the documents, and that so it means the emails that go out are much more likely to get through because they're smaller and just contain a link. It also means you can control access. So as soon as someone leaves Wise Owl School, in this case, any links they've got hanging about in emails and stuff will stop working for them. They won't be able to access those anymore. So that's a real benefit of having links. What we could do though for Deborah though is just imagine if we could drag and drop a document into the notice board, and that gets uploaded to a folder of documents, and we include the link. Oh, that would be nice. Anyway, sorry, getting carried away, but also highlights another point. If you have a great idea like Deborah's, or you want to ask us any questions or get any feedback, use the bubble down the right-hand corner there. This puts you through to our support team at the Key, and you can send us a message. So if you've got an idea for something that make your life easier, or you've got a question, something's not working right for you, send us a message. That's how you get in touch with us.
There's lots of questions still, Neil. There's a few about can you be given information to help or training and all that sort of aspect. So, and again, forgive me if you've already said it. You've got the help button at the top there of the screen. There's loads of information there. If you've got a new governor, point them to this. You've got, and you can see all the different sort of aspects of the whole system in there. But also use that bubble at the bottom right. If you need particular training, if you need sessions, we run webinars like this one and the one we're doing on the 2nd of December at 10 a.m. Good link. That's a much more thorough one. So, you know, get in touch and tell us what you need.
Question about the how secure is the information? Can GovernHub staff see it? So when you join GovernHub for the first time, you'll see a sort of terms and conditions that links off to our privacy policy, and that sets out everything in detail about what we can do with your data, what we can't do with your data, what we can see and what we can't see, what other schools can see. So GovernHub staff, if we need to debug problems, we can access various pieces of the system. So that's all accessible. But obviously the governing board documents, for example, are tied down to just your board. GovernHub staff could access it if they needed to diagnose a problem, but that's the only reason we could access your documents. John's here. How would you compare yourself to the NGA? So National Government Association, we work really closely with them actually. So National Government Association, they do provide advice, probably not to the same extent as Keeper School Governors offers advice, but they do provide good stuff. The National Governors Association is primarily there to represent governors to government. So what's good practice? They do a really great survey and feedback. So an awful lot of schools that subscribe to GovernHub and Keeper School Governors also subscribe to NGA to support those sort of things. So yeah, we're sort of different bodies, so we overlap a little bit, but certainly I would encourage you to support the NGA in terms of the surveys they do, the lobbying they do for good governance across the country. Yinka's asked, is there a summary document sent out to boards explaining what GovernHub is and how it works? Have a look at that help area, which Ellie pointed out. Can you access the hub via the Key app? Not today. You will be able to in the future, probably sometime during next calendar year. There is, however, at the moment a separate GovernorHub app, which you'll be able to sign into and access documents and so on. Anyway, I've just got an eye on the time and we're coming towards the end. There are, wow, some great questions, lots of other questions there. I think we've covered quite a few of them, but what we'll do as well is pick them up and send out answers in the follow-up. But perhaps I can hand over to you to just describe what those follow-ups are going to be and any other things we need to cover.
Yep, absolutely. So yes, those questions, they're not lost if we haven't answered them for you. We will go through and make sure that we do. As I mentioned earlier, next steps, do go and click that GovernorHub link on the Keeper School Governors and get yourself set up and have a little mooch around. Drop us a line in the bubble if you've got any questions, we can talk you through it. We've got the help centres we've mentioned at the top. Go and have a look at that. Or we do have this longer session where we'll run through everything you need to know on Thursday, December the 2nd at 10 a.m. We will send a link out for anyone to register or for you to forward to the rest of your board to register on Monday with the recording of this session. So don't worry, you won't miss that. And do please complete our survey. I think Bex popped it in the chat. Perhaps you might do that again, but also when you finish this webinar, it should pop up on your screen. Do please fill it out. I mean, it's partly for us to know whether we did what you needed to today, but really important is to ensure that we find out what are the gaps that we need to explain to you, that we need to cover in other sessions, that we need to send out and make clear. So do please fill in that survey. And I think, yes, that's about it from us, Neil, unless there's anything else you can think of.
Let's go and do these questions. These are great questions.
They are.
I love these. So yeah, I think quite a few of them we have covered already, and the rest we'll cover it in the follow-up, but also then in the 2nd of December session. So that's going to be an hour and a half, very specific, going into all the details. So for example, there was a question about how you can set a review date on a document. Great question. We'll show you exactly how to do that in that sort of session, but also everything else as well. So when we'll send a follow-up email to you, everyone who's been on the session today, and we'll send it as part of that a link in that email to how to subscribe onto that 2nd December session.
Yeah, you'll get that on Monday, folks, just so you know, because we have to sort the recording out. So that will come out on Monday. Do look out for it and drop us a line if there's anything in the meantime.
Good stuff. Excellent. Well, thanks everyone. That was a whistle-stop tour, Governor. I hope that was useful, gave you a very high-level view. Come along to the follow-up session on 2nd December. If you want more details, But otherwise, have a lovely rest of the day and a great weekend. Thanks, everybody.